Hello and welcome to In Conversation with the One Hour Mentor, Anak Desai. Anak Desai has been a suit for 30 years before he turned mentor, coach, and founder of the One Hour Mentor and OnePlus 99 Experience Consulting. You can learn more about him across social media platforms as @Anak. This is a casual conversation with professionals from various fields. We ask them about their life journey and attempt to gather lessons from their triumphs and failures. This recorded show is accessible on YouTube and other platforms. So let's begin our conversation with the One Hour Mentor, Anak Desai.
Our guest today is Mitesh. Mitesh is a chef by training. He learned it at Ahmedabad, and he's an enemy of sorts. I hated eating Japanese food. He opened a restaurant, called me over a couple of times, cooked for me, and of course a lot of other people also. And that place in Bandra became my go-to place. Small, quiet, very, very nice. He shut it down. Then he opened one bang across the road from my house. Same thing, he shut it down. So now today I need to grill him about what exactly are his plans and why does he keep on doing this to me. Welcome, Mitesh.
So what's been happening besides obviously bacha party, entertaining, keeping yourself cooking, which is not such a good thing, but
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed as well. So what happened, thankfully, was so like we moved in at my in-laws' place
oh, okay.
in Bandra. So they have so I have my nephew as well. I mean, my sister-in-law's baby is around the same age as my child.
Okay.
So we've been like so the whole family is kind of together. So there are like 10 people in the house. So
Wow, that's a large number.
that's a large number of people. Yeah. I mean, it's a big house. So yeah. So
ठीक
it's
मजा भी आती है
kind of nice because otherwise just the three of us would have been damn boring.
boring, yeah.
Over a month and a half. I mean, just the three of us. I mean, just me, my wife, and my child. I mean, it would have been
She's what, 3 years, 2 years,
2 years. She just turned 2 yesterday. So,
and just keeping her busy would have
oh, it's the biggest challenge we have. Biggest challenge. The problem is my wife has like a full-time job right now, right? She works for CRY. So
oh.
she heads their fundraising for the Western
Oh.
region. So
Shit, you should have told me. I would have got her on this, yeah.
oh, I can get her whenever you like, bro.
Okay, so
She's
I
always
will
available.
fix in a slot for next week, and see, because the whole idea was that this recording goes live in 10 days after a few edits here and there and
Okay.
an introduction. So it's bringing people who are low key onto some kind of a platform,
Okay.
and
This goes on your like a podcast or something,
no,
or
earlier we had thought we would start a podcast, but then it requires a studio and other facilities.
okay.
So till COVID doesn't end, we are going to do the video cast, and the
Okay.
video also can be converted to a podcast. That's not a major area of concern. You just
Correct.
remove the faces and they keep the. That is there. The whole idea from the beginning was people who have met digitally,
Mm-hmm.
have become friends over the years, are into different businesses,
Correct.
have faced problems, failures, winning in those businesses, and what can they share with other wanting to be entrepreneurs, or just the aam janta, because it's very easy to keep saying, being positive, and keep saying अरे नहीं यार ये तो कोविड में मर जाएंगे and all that. I said an element of casual conversation makes life simpler. कि ठीक है यार, कोई बंदा पहले भी कोविड के पहले भी कर चुका है, and post COVID also there will be a life.
Very true.
So that's the whole angle to it. We began last week. We've done close to around 14 last week.
Nice.
And this week, I think we should complete around 26.
Awesome.
So that 40 ka batch hai will go into churn and start releasing 3 days gap.
These will be released on email,
YouTube,
on your
on
social
YouTube.
media pages.
Yeah, social media, YouTube, all of that.
Okay.
So that will be there, and our site is on the verge of finishing. So all of that will also be on the site.
Awesome.
So that's where it is. So you are probably in your industry, you're the first person today.
Okay.
When I say industries, I'm counting the macro industry, hotels, QSRs, ye wo. But given that everybody is hungry forever these days, he says, let's begin with the chef. So Mitesh, your background, which you shared with, and shows you as one would always look at you as saying that having done that in place from Gujarat, your area or love would have been more Indian food. But two people who came onto the show and who know you well, they said we have no clue about his Indian sort of food or something. As far as we are concerned, we know Mitesh only as Oriental man. And
yeah, Oriental is something I love doing. So I'm a largely self-taught Oriental chef.
Really?
Yeah, but mainly, I mean, my training obviously was so I'm from IHM Ahmedabad. It's a part of a national council which basically has 18 odd institutes around the country.
Okay.
We have a common entrance test, and we have the Dadar Catering College in Bombay, and we have the Pusa in Delhi, and in major metros, major cities of India, everywhere from Chennai, Bhopal, to Bangalore and Goa, and all these major cities or states will have one institute.
Okay.
And so you have one common entrance exam, and then based on your score, you can give like an order of preference of which institute you want to be in.
Right.
So obviously, Bombay was my first preference, and Ahmedabad was my second because it's the closest to Bombay, and plus the institute was very good. I mean, it had a great reputation. So I applied for Ahmedabad as my second, and Delhi was my third option. So I got in my second option in Ahmedabad, so I went there. So generally the course is the same. The course doesn't change. Like in the other catering, the same. I have the same material that is in Ahmedabad as is in Delhi or any other city in the country. The course material is the same basically. And the course material, unfortunately, fortunately, is majorly Western continental French cuisine. That's what is taught to us in college, because that's the only cuisine I feel that at that point in time had documented their cuisine very well. They're the first ones to do it.
Right.
And that became the classical method of teaching, and we still use French terms in our designations, the chef de partie and sous chef and demi chef, and they're all French positions, French designations. And a lot of the 5-star kitchens are divided in French, sections, like the fish section or the meat section the sauce section or the curry section or whatever, So the sections are still very French ultimately, But now over a period of time, or especially over the last 10 years, I would say, we've really woken up, and like Indian gastronomy has really come to the forefront, and finally there's some respect for Indian food, not only abroad but in India as well. We started taking Indian food more seriously here.
Right.
Earlier Indian food for us was, अरे नहीं यार, it'll be greasy, it'll be oily, वो butter chicken होगा, पनीर मखनी होगा, तेल वेल होगा, बहुत सारा नहीं खाने का अपने को. Or you would go to your normal like local restaurant and eat your South Indian food, and that was the definition of Indian food for most of us at that point in time.
Right.
That then around late 2000, like 2008, 9, 10, 11 is when the Indian food sort of started to take mainstream positions, and good restaurants started opening up. There were always the copper chimneys of the world were always there.
Right.
But then good restaurants started coming in, and they started doing a little bit of fusion is a wrong word, I would say, but they started
experimenting with
experimenting with ingredients, with presentations,
Correct.
And because of that, the Indian, and then internationally, sort of Indian food sort of caught on, in places like, especially in places like London
Right.
and even in Australia for that matter, there's some great Indian restaurants in both these, in all these countries. So obviously because of the Indian diaspora,
That's
and
right.
then some stars like Atul Kochar and Gagan Anand, and these guys came on the scene, and they really took Indian cuisine to the next level. So then Indian cuisine is now sort of considered okay, it is something to be looked at for the future, especially in the US. But I mean, coming back to the question, so Indian was obviously is there in our DNA, right? I've
Correct.
grown up with Indian food. I've eaten Indian food all my life. I mean, the first time I ate a pasta was when I was in college, because at home we never really made pasta. In the last century, there was no exposure to that kind of cuisine. When I went to college, I could not differentiate between broccoli and zucchini and asparagus. And
Most of us still can't, but we will pretend that we like broccoli, but that's a different story.
And at that time, it was so difficult to get also, right? I mean, you couldn't just get
yeah,
them.
yes.
So even in college, we were given like one piece sometimes, like one piece to show for the whole class.
Right.
So we weren't allowed to cook with it. We got, okay, we have broccoli. I'm like, okay, you will cook with cauliflower, but you see what broccoli looks like. At least you'll know what it is.
Right.
So they got like one broccoli ka piece, and the whole class saw it. And then we cooked with cauliflower only ultimately. So, those were the times. This is like in 96 when I went to catering college.
Oh.
Yeah. So 96 to 99 when I passed out, in those 3 years. So in the middle of your course, during the 3 years of the college, you go for a 6 months internship to a hotel.
Right.
So, so I did my internship at the erstwhile Centaur Hotel in Juhu Beach, next to Marriott, which is now, I think, Tulip Star, which is also shut. Yeah. So at that time, Juhu Centaur was one of the prime properties of Bombay. Chef Sanjeev Kapoor was at his peak with the Khana Khazana show, and he was our executive chef at that time. And so that itself was a big deal for me. Okay, I'm getting to work in the same kitchen as Chef Sanjeev Kapoor, and he's going to be there. I mean, I saw him 3 times in the whole 6 months. That's another story. But for me, it was like, okay, I'm there in the kitchen as him, and the same kitchen as him, But then that really opened my eyes. I'm like, okay, wow, food is not just about what we learn in college. It's so much more, and there's so much more to really see. And, so it was, it was a great learning experience there. Out of the 6 months, I spent 2.5, 3 months in the kitchen, and the rest of it, obviously, you're made to rotate in all departments, front office, housekeeping.
I know, because we used to get this trainees from Dadar Catering in Baroda.
Okay.
I used to work at the Express Hotel.
Okay.
And since Bharat Shah knew Thangam Philip very well, he would always ensure, we would get some trainees.
Nice.
Who then moved on to the Oberoi. Some of them moved on to. And but it was always fun learning from them, because irrespective of how much work you gave them, they say कि यार इससे तो ज़्यादा catering college में हमारे पास काम करवाते हैं. So
I wouldn't. But catering college honestly was like, I mean, if I could really put a term to it, was 3 years of a lot of fun.
Sure.
I mean,
of course.
yeah. I mean, it was.
See,
it
at
was
that
crazy,
at that age, I think work also seems like fun, because you are learning everything.
Yeah, everything is new, right? You've never done it.
Yeah.
So so I was 16 when I went into catering college. I was 19 when I passed out.
Okay.
And for the first time ever, I lived with. So I've always lived in that same building, grew up in the same building. I only had those friends, same school, same friends. And then suddenly I went into a city where I suddenly met 300 new people from different cities. I had never known anyone from, say, Bihar or Jharkhand or.
Correct.
I didn't know those places existed at that point in time. I mean, I knew the geography of India, but I never knew what people from there would be like. So. Then I met with a lot of guys whose families were, whose parents were in the armed forces. So they traveled around the country. like someone who's lived in Assam and who's lived in like Delhi and who's lived in Kanyakumari and these kind of places, and even though they are from somewhere, but they've lived all around the country. So, so that's such a diverse and great experience with them. So that kind of opened my eyes. I'm like, okay, wow, there is so much to see and learn from all these people who are coming from
Different
I'm from
places.
Bombay, which is supposed to be one of the better cities in the country. I have all that infrastructure, but these guys have come from like Orissa and Jharkhand and these kind of places. They've also qualified for our college. So that should be respected and kind of you know. So that was a like a great experience for me. And then mainly initially the training, the learning was French and continental and European cuisine. And then and then I went on, then I worked with Moshe in Bombay for a year and a half when he used to be the head chef of this restaurant called Athena in Colaba.
Right.
I used to be a chef. I worked there with him for like an year or so. And then I went to work in a cruise liner. And there again, I met people from 50 odd nationalities who were working with me. We had like 1,000 crew. And in the
Right.
1,000 people, there were like 50, 55 nationalities working with us.
Wow.
So in my kitchen itself, there were like 15, 18 nationalities working in my kitchen. So suddenly, and then you see volume, right? Because I used to work in Holiday Inn in Bombay. I worked in like, and then Athena used to be like a fine dine. So we used to cook for like 100 people in the night, and we would be very, like, we would be so, tired and, yeah, oh, 100 people today. I have to like, cook for 100 people, 200 perfect plates of food have to go. And it's so hectic and, it's so, and then there we go. And like 100 people is a joke because we're cooking for 3,000 people every day.
Yeah.
So we're cooking 3,000 breakfast, 3,000 lunches, and 3,000 dinners. And then there is like a high tea in the evening where people are going dancing. So you have to send snacks. And so my day would like start at 8 a.m. and we would be there till like 10:30 in the night. And you would just be like cooking all day, and like volume and those things, like those concepts went out of the window. You stop counting. You just stop counting. Like, okay, how many chickens are we cooking today? Like, let's start with 600, 700. Let's see how many more we need.
Interesting.
So and then here we were counting like, okay, आज 5 किलो चिकन आया है बेटा, उसको जरा प्रोसेस करके अच्छे से रखेंगे तो कल भी शायद काम आएगा, कल शायद आएगा भी नहीं. So like वो 10 किलो में हम लोग यहाँ पे थक जाते थे. And suddenly we go there and I'm like 600 chickens, 700 chickens. And I'm like, concept क्या है? मतलब what are we doing? So like the first 2 weeks, 3 weeks, so I was like lost. I did not know what, like, that you have that, the deer in front of the headlights and, that kind of scenario. I didn't know, my hand from my ass, literally. It was horrible. Very bad state. And then ultimately I sort of, started to, find my feet and, I was 22 when I went there. So
Okay.
I was like, okay, I'll learn, I'll spend some time there. So slowly over 2 months, then I became sort of comfortable and, got settled in. So yeah, I spent 3 years there on the ship. I came back and then, I left because, that life wasn't for me. I did not really enjoy it there so much. It was nice when you're young, you want to go and, do all that. I did it for 3 years. It was nice. But beyond that, I had no wish to continue there. And I thought, and the Indian dining scene was just sort of taking off at that time. And, new people were asking for, and there was a good demand for new chefs in Bombay. And, so we said, okay, let's just, stay back and see what I can do here in Bombay. So then we opened a restaurant in Phoenix called Monza, which was an Italian restaurant. So the Italian food concept at that point in time was nobody knew regional Italian, nobody knew Tuscany from Milan, and nobody knew modern Italian, and no one really knew about the great Italian chefs and all that. You could just barely get some books and you would study from there. Thankfully, I had the opportunity of going on the cruise liner at that time and working with a few Italian chefs, so I learned a few things from them. And I could come back and and bring those recipes and sort of Indianize them a little bit. And and then sort of that restaurant took off. That restaurant did well.
Okay.
So that is when I stayed with the Western cuisine thing for a while. That
Okay.
was till I think 2007, 8. Then so the partners in that
Monza shut down around that time only, no?
shut in 2009. Shut in 2009. So yeah, so 2008, 7, 8 May, the owners of the restaurant, the owners of Monza, and they also owned a club there called Aziano, which was just behind Monza
Okay.
in Phoenix. And there was so Mihir Desai, who now owns Barstock Exchange,
Okay.
was one of the partners. Moksh was one of the partners. Moksh owns Living Liquids, the wine company. He has some 40 odd wine shops in Bombay. And one of the partners was Vivek. He runs Earth and their Mexican restaurant.
Okay.
Sancho's. He owns and runs those. So he's a partner there. So all these guys were together. It was their first venture, all of their first ventures in hospitality space. And we were all on the same age. So everyone was kind of, excited and, trying to do something new. So we're the first place to do a wine bar. We had like a wine boutique in the restaurant itself. We had some 100 odd wine labels. The first place to,
sell it by the glass.
We had nearly 20 wines by the glass. And you could select from 100 odd wines at that point in time. So that took off really well. That concept did very well. And then for the third place, they thought, okay, we should do Asian or we should do Indian. That was the, the kind of the choice. What do we do? So they did a partnership with someone and they opened an Indian restaurant there, but it did not really work too well. In 6 months, 8 months, it had to fold. So it was a partnership. So I wasn't involved with the food there because they said, it's somebody else's brand. So it's a joint venture. So better to let them run the show. You just help them with, whatever infra they need. Other than that, you manage the club and the, the Italian place, which was okay. I mean, it didn't matter. So then they said, okay, let's get into the Asian space. That's when we got into a partnership with Mr. Nitin Tandon, who used to own the brands Lemongrass at that point in time.
Right.
So we got Lemongrass franchise there in Phoenix, and we ran it for like a year or so. That is when I took a couple of trips to Bangkok in that 6-month period to actually get a taste of what the food should taste like. Before we actually start presenting it to people, and we should know, at least I should know what it tastes like. I have good cooks here, but I don't know if what they're doing is good enough, or at least I should get some perspective.
Right.
So I went there a couple of times during that time, and and it was beautiful. I mean, I just fell in love with with Thai food in general. So then we started doing a lot of experimentation, and unfortunately, within a year and a half or so, we had to close off the whole complex because Phoenix wanted to redevelop that whole building.
Oh, okay.
Shut down all the 3 restaurants around that time. And then I joined MCA, which is the Mumbai Cricket Association.
Right.
I joined them as a consultant first to set up their restaurants in BKC. We had, so they were setting up 4 restaurants. There were 4 restaurants and the banquet for them. And then ultimately, after 6 months of the setup happened, and they said, okay, why don't you join us as F&B manager and continue working with us? So continued for another 6 months after that. It was like a year or so in MCA. And then I was like, okay, then the कीड़ा काट गया. I had to अभी खुद का कुछ करने का. So then the Lemongrass Bandra opportunity came by. He said, okay, Mr. Nitin, and so there was an investor at that point in time and someone else who came and said, okay, let's just, sort of run let's take over the place in Bandra and let's make it a lemongrass and let's run the place. I'm like, okay, it's Asian, and okay, you come in as a partner and you run the show. Like, okay, cool. So we came in, it made money from from the first month. So it started off that way in 2009. I started, and I was with the company till 2000. I mean, I'm still a partner, but I'm sleeping partner now. 2017 November I left. Now it's been 2.5 years odd. I've been doing my consulting work.
Tell me something. As even in the chef terminology, if one were to say कि मसालजी से शेफ बनता है और शेफ मसालजी से कुक बनता है, कुक से शेफ बनता है और फिर उस्ताद बनता है, kind of a scenario. An ustad literally never retires. I mean, you will see him without teeth, probably still churning out and teaching boys the way roti is made or kitna aata bhunna hai, kind of a thing.
Yes, those classical masters are still there.
Still there.
So many of them, yes. Very
Now,
much.
When one compares that with a classical education, why is it that most chefs, after a certain while, want to spread their wings, which is fine. I mean, they should. And that's how people will know them. People will appreciate what they can bring to the table. Why is it that there is no such, what could I say, a kind of training platform or a training institute, if you prefer the word, which does not teach professional cooking, but something which is not again a master class of 2 ghanta, but primarily, like, I don't know, there's a flat, say hypothetically, there is a flat 3,000 rupees, and the chef will teach me 3 dishes. My 3 dishes is I have to report for that one day in that whatever kitchen which is available, and out of the list of Oriental, I can check if I want to learn how to make a chicken fried rice, dumpling, and this 3 items I want to learn and learn. Today what I see is most chefs either on a webinar or on a something YouTube channel, and in their own cooking studio also, they love to hold master classes, but the master classes are most of the time people attend oh, I went there karke dikhane ke liye, not really at times. So like I have been after a couple of friends in that, and I said, okay, can you tell me, I have 2 loaves of bread, I have rest of the ingredients and all that, and I want to learn how to make 14 different kinds of sandwiches out of this. Okay. So half the friends say, who are chefs say, अरे यार घर पे आजा कभी भी बना के दिखा दूंगा. Other half say, अरे यार क्या कुछ भी डाल ले वो तो बन ही जाती है सैंडविच, ब्रेड नीचे लगाया ऊपर लगाया बीच में तेरी मर्जी है फिट कर ले. Okay. Now that is fine. I mean, it's not that I can't go to their house and learn or something. But besides me, there are obscene number of people who want to learn this 2 or 3 specific things. Not be experts at everything. So I may not like a paratha, but I want to be able to cook using my spaghetti or angles which is lying there in my cupboard and use it with the 2 vegetables I like. I hate broccoli, I hate this, I can only use this. So somewhere, is that something which India is still uncertain about? Because in the international market, I've seen this at a lot of places, because we actually used to run this as a tour also.
There are a few in every city who are doing these kind of classes, who are conducting these kind of classes. Like Chef Rakhi Vaswani does a lot of these classes very regularly.
Okay.
She conducts, I think, at least 10 of them every week.
Okay. So, which is you can select what you want to learn.
Yeah. So she has like a menu,
Okay.
and she has like so even I go there, sometimes.
Right. Of course.
Some classes even I conduct for her.
Yeah.
And she obviously has a team of chefs. She calls different people to come and do different classes.
Correct.
Many of them she teaches on her own. Many of them she gets other people to come and teach as well, if it's a specialized kind of thing. So, and she has a whole in-house team of chefs as well. So
Oh, very interesting. Very, very
so
interesting.
she does that. It's there on her website. It's there on her Insta handles. It's called Palette Culinary Academy. She has some there. She has a few of those. So there'll be like classes from like I've conducted a Korean class there. I've conducted
Oh,
a sushi class a few times. I've done seafood classes. I mean, there are different kind of, I mean,
yeah, but just imagine, we are talking about the city of Bombay and one name.
yeah, I know one name. There are a few other, I'm pretty sure of. There are 4 or 5 others whom I know of. So,
Again.
but it's still less. And the problem is the cost. They are slightly expensive. So one day
That's
class like that is
$7,500, $8,000 or something.
not that much, but still 3,000, 3,500.
See, okay, I was coming from a completely different perspective.
Huh.
I was coming from, and which is one of the things which we will talk at a later date also. I have lots of friends, women, some of them single, all of them working 12 hours. This is the period where they said, okay, we are relaxing, so we are cooking. And everybody, whenever we used to get together or something, they would always laugh and say, no, I'm working, I don't want to cook. Whereas in fact, the matter is all of them are excellent cooks. Okay, so we have decided to, post the COVID, we have decided to gather and, once a month or something, hold a working women's pop-up.
Potluck.
So they cook something, and we get 1 or 2 chefs along with that also.
Okay.
And have it maybe a Sunday afternoon or a Saturday afternoon. And there are enough 6 or 7 hai. So there are enough people to come there, buy, taste, and just have a good time kind of a thing. Maybe once a month, maybe once in 2 months. I don't really know.
Yeah, be happy to join.
So they were very keen on this, and which is when I flipped it around to ask the same question: that why would men not gather and do this?
Yeah, I mean, one, it's not. I mean, it's not really the same. But yeah, earlier people could say, "Oh, it's not macho enough. Let's meet for drinks."
But no,
boys will meet to get drunk and
correct. So
to party.
I asked a couple of people about this, and who are reasonably good cooks amongst the male. And so I said, boss, I can cook most of the things with egg, paratha, aloo ki sabji, and those basics as a survival. And some of them can cook much more than survival. So I said, yeah. So they said, yeah, why not? We can even have a, tequila shot afternoon, where it says that whoever has liked the food the best, all of them together have to have those many shots on a voting and convert it to a game. So
yeah,
what I see is Indians love food. I mean,
correct.
घर पे आप बैठे हो अभी तो lunch खत्म नहीं हुआ है उसके पहले either dad or somebody has this habit of asking a question, शाम को क्या है खाने में?
That's exactly what is happening these days.
Right. Now, in such an environment, I am looking at why is it that somebody is not taking advantage of it. I'm saying, I look at Sanjeev Kapoor. I know Sanjeev Kapoor since, I don't know, God knows when. But then second is the Singh, Namak Shamak. Then we have Ranveer or Saransh, and then Rakhi Oswani. All these chefs have sort of fitted into one kind of an area. कैसे ब्रांड स्पॉन्सरशिप करो, ये कुक करके सिखाओ, ये कुकिंग का क्लास करो. So they have taken a leap of faith. They have taken an experiment. They have taken a risk in moving away from being a chef in a hotel to doing all of these things, and which to me, in a way, is theatrics. They have moved to theater with food instead of probably food with theater.
Okay, interesting perspective.
So and my question is, why can food not be the principal content and theater is added to it?
Which it should be, na? I think it's
How?
time where you know
How?
where
I mean,
concept.
It's a one-way traffic. No chef today in India says that I don't know, maybe first Sunday or first Saturday, Sunday of the month, I am going to cook this 6 dishes, one for breakfast, one for lunch, one for snack, one for dinner, and there'll be 30 people there. First come, first serve registration पे ये करके मेरे साथ बनाओ, and I may make poha, but I want to see 30 different kinds of poha.
Problem is scalability of concepts like that, and the biggest challenge a chef. So आप 10 शेफ को बिठाओगे ना सर एक रूम में, 10 शेफ आपको 100 बढ़िया आइडिया दे देंगे, मगर प्रॉब्लम क्या है, ये 10 शेफ को ना बेचना नहीं आता है. So that is where most restaurants or most chefs kind of falter, because अरे यार बेचने नहीं आता है, अरे अच्छा ठीक है, let's do, say I can do a great tasting menu and I can do it at a really good price, let people come, but people don't come till the time they don't see hype, or till the time they don't see a celebrity name, or something like that.
Okay, so let me hold that thought there. And I don't know whether you ever managed to visit Me So Happy, which was in Bandra. It operated for a year or so.
Me So Happy वो खार लिंकिंग रोड के पास. या अनिरुद्ध शेफ था ना वहाँ पे.
अनिरुद्ध.
हाँ.
And then the captain's table in Bandra, BKC.
Yes, I went to both BKC and Bandra West, both Me So Happy.
So typically, we were 1+99 was hired to run those 2 restaurants.
Okay.
And we were there involved right from the beginning till the end, including removing of unwanted items on the menu.
Okay.
And saying that we will not use social media. Because the idea was that everybody came to them and said कि social media में 2 लाख खर्चा कर दो तो ये हो जाएगा, and we were against social media. I said, I want to prove that this can work and you will break even on the 4th month without ever having used social media. No influencers were called, nobody was called. Regular people were called saying that I am having breakfast here, will you join me? Worked exceedingly well. Captain's table, we did what we did. We held a gin evening, a scotch evening, and so on and so forth. Now, one of the key learnings or key takeaways there is what I realized is that the chef and the owner are always at loggerheads. It is not visible out in the open, but it is always visible because chef's presentation is, I like this, so people should like it. Owner's presentation is कि boss, I don't care तू क्या बनाता है और क्या यूज करता है, इसका पैसा कोई नहीं देगा मेरे को, तो तू बकवास है. Okay. And the consumer says कि यार boss वही सिंगदाना खाने के लिए तेरे पास कितने बार आएगा ना, मैं मेरे को तो हर दफे आओ तो हर दफे एक नया आइटम चाहिए.
करेक्ट. ठीक है, ओनर्स वांट टू प्ले सेफ. ओनर का दिमाग में एक ही आता है कि सेफ खेलो.
करेक्ट.
मल्टी क्विजीन बना दो, सब रखो, अच्छा ये भी चलता है, अच्छा वो भी चलता है, अरे डिमसम रखो शेफ, डिमसम बहुत चलता है, ओके, अरे आजकल एवोकाडो टोस्ट बहुत पॉपुलर हो गया, अच्छा वो भी डाल दो, अरे वो एग्स बेनेडिक्ट खाया मैंने इंडिगो में, बहुत मजा आया, वो डाल देते हैं. अरे उसका पिज्जा क्या चलता है दुकान में, क्या पिज्जा में डिलीवरी भी
डाल
हो
दो
जाएगा,
पिज्जा, हाँ
पिज्जा भी
पिज्जा
डाल
भी।
देते हैं। और पाव भाजी तो चलता ही है, आपको तो पता ही है, बॉम्बे का सबसे फेवरेट डिश है, तो पाव भाजी भी डाल देते हैं। अभी आप उसको कुछ मॉडर्न ट्विस्ट देके डाल दो मेन्यू के अंदर।
करेक्ट।
Oh, so that way, like these are the kind of briefs I get, you know. So I've been on both sides of the deal. I am a chef by profession, and I've been an owner of the restaurant as well. So obviously, that whole coming together of commerce and creativity was, get that balance was one of my most important jobs.
Correct.
Now, as a consultant, I do a similar thing. I try to treat the line and get the chef whom we appoint for the project and the owner to come on the same page and respect each other's points of view. So that is kind of a very important part of the consultant's job, or for me it is very important that the owner understand he's comfortable with the menu that we've made. Okay, it is creatively interesting,
Right.
but at the same time it has a saleability as well, that it won't just sit on the shelf and you'll say like, अरे यार movement ही नहीं है, ये कोई खा ही नहीं रहा है, कि लोगों को समझ में ही नहीं आ रहा है.
Interesting perspective.
And then we get
I
the chef
mean,
to, okay बेटा आप थोड़ा सा relax करो, don't get so far, let's do a menu which is so the chef will make a menu, I will make a menu, then we'll do a trials together, and then we reach a point where ki, okay, out of the 25 dishes that we've tried, these 15 fit the bill, these 10 don't, for whatever reason. This उसमें से 4-5 तो were plain Jane not working. The other 5 could probably be कि, okay, they could work, but people might need a certain level of training, or people, लोगों को समझाना पड़ेगा, सिखाना पड़ेगा, उसके लिए उतना टाइम है क्या तुम्हारे पास? बोला नहीं यार वो नहीं है, छोड़ो जान दो, बहुत काम है, chuck it, let's not listen for. So these 15 I think will fit the bill, and it will work for both. It will work in terms of people will understand very nicely, and people will appreciate also कि अच्छा they've taken something like that and given it a little twist, but it is still very nice and very hearty at the same time.
So when we were allowed to experiment, we did one experiment. The owner would, in the evening, would go to every table with a folded card. The card, when it was opened, it asked only one question. Out of the entire meal, which was the one thing which you didn't like?
Okay.
And on the back of the card, that you tear it off, and you get on the same bill, that day's bill, anything between 5 and 20% off. So this same question about kept popping up as to why why would you ask the worst thing on the menu, or worst thing which they didn't like? And second is obviously more is discount abhi kyun? Next time pe dena chahiye. I said they will not come the next time. Number one.
Yeah.
Number two is when you are asking the worst thing, a lot of people spoke about the burger bun as a problem area. And they looked at it and they said, oh, but how can it be? We are selling like 80 burgers a day. और रोज 6-7 बोल रहे हैं. So I said, yeah, because the rest of them have never tasted a burger in their lives. कि bun, patty और अच्छा mayonnaise और सब डाल के दिया तो खा लेता है. I said, these guys have understood that mayonnaise, don't drown my burger in mayonnaise or something. I want to, the taste of the chicken or the paneer, whatever you put in, I want to taste that.
Yeah, I want the patty to be the dominant flavor.
So instead of, most of the times in their gung-ho trying to get good marks, most of the hospitality trade gives more weightage to what is good or what was good. Okay, salam भरा के नहीं, तो 1 to 5 में. तो वो वॉचमैन को मालूम है ना, मैं एज लॉन्ग एज मैं सबको सलाम करता रहूं, बाद में मेरे कपड़े अच्छे हैं नहीं है कोई देखेगा नहीं, मैं सलाम किया ना वो टिक करेगा.
True.
So it's a different spin, but So what are you now going to prefer? Still, wanting to start your own restaurant or a cafe and keep consulting, or do some outlandish experiment which um, brings you completely a different flavor.
So we tried that thing, right? When we did Avi, when we did the Japanese
Right.
place in Bandra, there was kind of that time when my partners gave me that freedom and said, "Ki, okay, Mitesh, you know what? We've done decently well. You can do whatever the hell you want, and let us become the pioneers of Japanese cuisine in Bombay. Let's launch and do something so wild and so different that people talk about it, and and it should become a destination restaurant, because it's a small corner in the middle of nowhere. And we said, if we do a normal place, koi aayega nahi wahan pe. So it has to be something different. So log aana chahiye. It has to get people to that corner. Like, okay, let's do that. And so we did that experimentation and we did that. But it worked. But it worked for a while. But ultimately, for the amount of work that we put in to compare to the commercial, ultimately it's a business, right? You have to keep that. You have to keep that. Thing. I mean, where it was wildly satisfying in terms of as a creative person, it was I mean, it used to make me very happy. But at the end of the month, when I used to look at the balance sheets, that was not a very happy time. Where we wouldn't lose money, but we wouldn't make too much money either. So I was working so hard, and we're hardly making any money here. And and there are all kinds of the jagah hi nahi milta hai, table hi nahi milta hai. So weeknight would be like, so because the size was so small, a lot of people would say कि अरे यार उधर तो table ही नहीं मिलता है, क्या बात कर रहा है bro, खाली पड़ा है. I'm like, oh अच्छा, oh I'm sorry, I wasn't sure, I wasn't aware. So and plus we would like so there were like a whole lot of combination of errors from our end, as well as like a whole other combination of factors. For whatever reason, it did not work out ultimately. Right now, what I want to do is I want to see that all of my my earlier projects kind of sustain. They all sustain in the long term, and they are able to sort of deliver what they're doing. Ultimately, yes, I would like to obviously get back into the business and do something on my own. I am in talks with a couple of people, and we are working on a couple of projects. So it's something in the QSR space. So that space to me is going to explode in the next in the coming year or so. In the quick service restaurant space, and at a good reasonable price, where your average spend is not going to be more than 100-150 rupees per head, and with a very robust delivery model embedded in the business itself. So where you don't spend more than 10 minutes in the place, you get a hearty meal at under 100 rupees, and it's quick in and out, and it doesn't really or like hurt your pocket too much. And obviously the food is top quality, top notch, healthy, clean, kind of ambience, and food that we all understand, but only taken right back to its roots. Not more than 15 items on the menu, and that's basically it. That's my basic idea of that concept.
What stops you from using this downtime by putting in an ad and saying that post-COVID, people who are going to have a problem in shutting down their establishments, some of them will have to shut down.
Yes.
And that may be because of the rent, because of people not coming, etc., 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 etc. And some of them can still afford to keep it open, but they'll still shut down because of a variety of reasons. That could be a good opportunity for you to look at. No? Saying, I am there, everything is there, this place is ready. I don't know. I mean, obviously.
If you want to just give it to us. Yeah.
पूछने में पैसा नहीं लगता ना.
Financially is where everything just sort of but yeah, but
no, there's no finance involved. No, finance सब आपका है. आप वापस दे रहे हो और लॉस जा रहा है, उससे अच्छा 3 महीना की बात करो या 6 महीने की बात करो, चला लो, इतना ही इंक्रीमेंटल कॉस्ट है ना.
हमारे साथ कर लो और देख लो. So sir, even I thought that, ultimately once this thing ends and, there will be a few, there might be a few good places that might come, that might come our way. And, we might get an opportunity to, to get a leg in and save some money on, especially on things like infrastructure, equipment,
Correct.
all that. So those things are a very real possibility. We already discussed it, me and my partners. So yeah, I mean that is helping our capex in in the
Absolutely.
for our setup. I think we'll save at least 30% in that in the coming months. But already in the last year and a half, I already had I mean literally twice a month I get calls, and if I really put down a number to it, there must be at least like equipment alone worth 40-50 lakh rupees that I am aware of is kept in different parts of the country.
Correct.
That is available for people to pick up. This is before COVID.
Correct. No, but that brings us to the couple of questions which I said you, Akanksha, and I need to have a separate chat about, because you are not working as an aggregator.
Okay.
So if you were to work as an aggregator, your business goes in a different direction altogether.
Okay.
So next week, let's fix a time with Akanksha. She's also been asking me what time and all. Let's fix a time and do a joint chat and see how that collaboration can work.
Yeah, I mean, Akanksha is such a dear friend, and I was her first client.
So that's
when
what she says. She says, I see no reason why a lot of this which you are telling me cannot work with us. Let's just jointly talk. I said, yeah, next week कभी भी है.
ये मेरे को समझा नहीं, एग्रीगेटर वाला पार्ट जरा मैं थोड़ा सा बताओ ना.
हाँ, but I'll have to chop it off, no? So I might as well tell you later.
Okay.
Because I cannot use the marketing information on your video for somebody else.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So this particular, once it gets broadcast, some of the ideas we talk about is open to all. So which should not be the case.
Okay.
If I'm talking to you, then it is your intellectual property or whatever the case may be. So what makes you tick, coffee or tea?
Chai.
Okay, so no snobbery about tea, only plain kadak masala tea or
Masala tea, proper chai, adrak wala.
adrak wala.
I like coffee. ऐसा नहीं कि I don't like coffee, but I don't like more than one coffee a day.
Okay.
And I prefer South Indian filter coffee to like if I'm in Chennai, I will have 5 cups of filter coffee in a day. I will not touch chai.
Correct. For me, that goes for anywhere in the south. If I'm there,
yeah.
That's the
same. Otherwise, and if I'm in Ahmedabad, I will only have masala chai. I will not touch anything else. There
also, unfortunately, having lived for so long, I have some standard people where I will go and have my chai. So
yeah.
That's
so there are the tapris. I mean, I think they
amazing.
Kill it. What quality chai, and I mean across Gujarat, I feel across Gujarat. I've had that in Ahmedabad, in Surat, in Baroda. I mean, wherever you go, and that chai quality is always so standard and so awesome. Now, I mean, you can just have it like
you know that there is a caste who just makes that in Gujarat. You know that, no?
Yeah, those
Bhatiyars.
Those guys who have those earrings and
no, they are known as Bhatiyars.
Okay.
And they will only be involved in this. You go the moment you cross Vapi, right till Rajkot, Saurashtra, you will find the same caste making
people
chai.
Doing that, huh?
Either the wife or the father or the youngest son.
So I mean that I've never noticed. But in the 3 years,
just like your Gujarat, all the non-vegetarian is cooked by Chilias only.
Uh-huh.
This is Bhatiaras who do this.
Who do the chai?
Yeah.
Okay. I thought there were a lot of people who were from Rajasthan or something. I mean, they had
Yeah,
this
the
dialect which was
Bhatiyar is a community which is known as a gypsy community all across the north, west, even MP,
okay.
central India, all of them. I mean, they have
Okay.
spread all across.
Okay.
But they commonly, those who are not into thieving and all that, have begun when they processes. So, like 20 years ago, 25 years ago,
Okay.
they started with this chai ki tapri.
Chai business.
So some of them refined their names to Bhadji.
But okay.
So you will see in Ahmedabad a lot of them saying Rupak Bhadji, Bhadji na Theko
But
and all.
Bhatni cha.
Bhatni cha.
Ah.
So
Okay.
that's
That part I didn't know. I know the Bhatni cha. I mean, you know, ki,
so that's
people
how
would.
the entire thing. Even the Bhatt, you see, one of his boys will always be wearing a earring on the right side.
Yeah. Tani.
Yeah.
Tani chala.
Vada pav or pani puri.
Vada pav.
When you travel, you prefer sleeping, reading, watching, or talking?
Or talking. If I have good company, yes, I love talking. I mean, I would love to, you know, to chat with people I know, or you know, if I can, you know, if I have good company, obviously, that's the first thing I would, the most important thing I would do. Otherwise, I would normally stick to my, you know, my tablet or my phone or whatever, and just whatever, watch content or you know, if I happen to be in the middle of an interesting book, then I will carry it with me. If I have not started something, then I try not to carry too much.
Okay. So thank you, Mitesh. Thank you for the
Pleasure. Such a
insight.
pleasure.
Thank you.
If you like this episode, like, share, and subscribe to the 1 Hour Mentor, Anak Desai.